Hello students, good afternoon everyone. Today we are going to talk about the phases of compiler. In the last lecture we studied about the introduction of compiler, the difference between compiler and interpreter. Then we understood about the line-based processing system, wherein we learnt about the assembler, the linker, the loader, and how they are actually converting the source program into a target program. Then we understood the block diagram of or the structure of a compiler, wherein the compiler was treated as a single box, which was then further categorized into two parts, the analysis and synthesis. The analysis was called as the front end of the compiler, the synthesis was called as the back end of the compiler. And from here we start this lecture. So I told in the last class also that this analysis and synthesis part will further be broken up into several phases or several aspects. So this analysis and synthesis will be broken up into several phases of a compiler, which constitutes several aspects by which a source program is converted into a target program. This we will learn over here through various phases. So obviously what it is written is, conceptually a compiler operates in phases, each of which transforms the source program from one representation to another. That one representation to another is called as the intermediate representation. That is not the final result. Final result will be the target program of the source program. So in greater detail, if I say, the compiler first makes the lexical. Now these are the terms, something new to you: lexical, syntax and semantic analysis of the source program. So these are actually the first three phases of the compiler: the lexical analysis phase, the syntax analysis phase, and the semantic analysis phase of the source program. Then after that we have, from the information gathered during this threefold analysis, it generates the intermediate code. This is the fourth phase of the source program, makes it optimization and creates the resulting target. So intermediate representation, intermediate code representation, then we have got code optimization, then we have got code generation. So these are all together the 6 phases of the compiler, which we can see over in this particular slide. First one is a lexical analysis, syntax analysis, semantic analysis, intermediate code generation, code optimization, and then code generation. So these are the 6 compilation phases. Along with this, we have 2 more things, which we can see over here: the symbol table management and the error handling, which are shown interacting with the 6 phases. The symbol table as well as the error handling interacts with all the 6 phases, both of them. Okay. But one more thing is written over here. It is said that since there are 6 phases, the first 3 phases forms the analysis part, which we spoke in the last class, the analysis and synthesis. The first 3 phases is the analysis part, and the next 3 phases, the last 3 phases, are called as a synthesis part. So we can see in the slide, the first 3 phases forms the bulk of the analysis portion of a compiler, and the last 3 phases form the synthesis portion of a compiler. So we can see a detailed description is given over here regarding the 6 phases. First one is see here, it is source program. It is going through lexical analyzer phase. One more name is given, that name is called as scanner. Okay. So lexical, it goes through the lexical analyzer, and this phase is called as the lexical analysis phase. Lexical analyzer is also called as scanner. It gives some output. Okay. What is that output? We will come across. That output is again fed as input to syntax analyzer. That syntax analyzer is also called as parser. Okay. It will also give some output. Now see, all these outputs, whether it is lexical analyzer output or syntax analyzer output or any other phases output, all these output are called as intermediate representation. Okay. So again, after syntax analyzer phase, the output goes as input to the semantic analyzer phase. Here the name given is semantic process will be performed. we'll see what is being done in each and every phase. Then the output of this phase goes as input to another phase called as intermediate code generator phase. Okay, what is being done over here is code generation is being performed. Now this is the preliminary code generator. Okay, after that this output is fed into code optimizer phase. Code optimizer, what it does, whatever the code has been generated, it will try to optimize that particular code. After that code optimizer phase, again the code generation is performed. That optimized code generation is now done. Okay, and then it gives the target program, which is called as the machine language program. Okay, here in this diagram, the symbol table management and the error handling phase is not shown. That we'll see later on. Okay. These two symbol table management and error handling, what it does, it talks with all these 6 phases. Okay. Now we'll see this various phases one by one. As we saw in the diagram, the lexical analysis phase was also called as the lexical analyzer was called as the scanner. So this phase is also called as scanning. Okay. See, in the last class we were speaking about that the source program is broken into pieces. In the analysis part, it is converted to the intermediate representation. So, which particular phase or which particular aspect breaks the source program into pieces? It is the lexical analyzer phase. Those pieces are called as lexemes. Lexical analysis breaks up the source program into lexemes. They are also called as tokens. That is logically cohesive lexical entities such as identifiers or integers. Lexemes are nothing. If you know about identifiers are what? Variables. Okay. So lexemes are like that. The whole program is broken into several pieces. Those pieces are called as lexemes or tokens. Okay. In short. Point number 3, it identifies that these entities are well formed. Well formed means they are defined properly. It is not like that if you are breaking into pieces, it is of no use. It should have meaning even after breaking. And produces tokens that uniformly represent lexemes in a fixed size way. Okay. And sends these tokens to the syntax analysis. So here one point is clear. Point is that source program is fed to lexical analyzer phase. Okay. I am going back to the previous slide. Source program is fed to the lexical analyzer phase. The lexical analyzer phase output is what? Lexemes. Lexemes or tokens, whatever you can say. Now this will serve as input for what? For the syntax analyzer phase. Okay. So remember this. Source program is the input for lexical analyzer phase. Output is your intermediate representation, that is called as lexemes or tokens. Here some different lexical classes are given. Lexical classes or tokens or lexemes are identifiers. Nothing new is given, but we should know. We should know what are those tokens called as. They are nothing but identifiers. They can be constants, they can be keywords, they can be operators. All these are your different types of tokens. So if an operator is there, let's say plus, minus, equal to whatever, that is also a token. Keyword is there, let's say int, float, char, etc. All these will be your tokens. Constants, if any, let's say 60, 20, 25, all these are your constants. They are also called as tokens. Then identifiers, the variable part, x, y, z, whatever it is, all this also will be called as the tokens. Next phase is your syntax analysis phase. Next phase is your syntax analysis phase. syntax analysis phase is also called as parsing, which we saw in the diagram. What it does, it will take input as tokens, and these tokens are obtained from lexical analysis phase. So this goes as input to the syntax analysis phase, and it gives output as a parse tree or a syntax tree. Remember this, okay? So what it does, the parser uses the first components of the tokens produced by the lexical analyzer to create a tree-like intermediate representation. That tree is called as parse tree or the syntax tree. Intermediate representation that depicts the grammatical structure of the token stream. What it is saying, a typical representation is a syntax tree, in which each interior node represents an operation. And how the syntax tree is found? Each interior node represents an operation, and the children of the node represents the arguments of the operation. Okay. So interior node will have plus, minus, whatever it is, and the children will be having the variable part, the constant part, and so on. So this is how the syntax tree is found, or the parse tree is found. You have learnt in automata, so you know that. Nothing new over here. So we have completed two phases. One is the lexical analysis phase, another is the syntax analysis phase. I am revising it once again. In the lexical analysis phase, source program is fed or taken as input. Output is your tokens. For syntax analysis phase, tokens is your input, and parse tree or syntax tree is your output. Semantic analysis, very simple. Semantic analysis, input will be your parse tree, output will be your parse tree. Then what is the difference? Difference is type checking is being done. I have written it in the bold form. Type checking is performed in this particular phase. Let's see what it is saying. Semantic analysis checks that the source program satisfies the semantic conventions of the source language. Like type checking, like you have written x equal to y plus z, where let's say y and z are integer type and x is a float type. So what will be the problem then? There is a mismatch in the data type. So semantic analysis, what it will do, it will try to match the data type as per the rule depicted. Okay. So that is the semantic conventions of the source language. Perhaps most importantly, it performs type checking to verify that each operator has operands permitted by the source language specification. It should not be like that the source language specification is having some other type and you are trying to put it somewhere else and trying to match with the data type. It won't allow. That is called as the semantic analysis phase. If the operands are not permitted, this compilation phase takes an appropriate action to handle this incompatibility. Okay. If it is not allowing, it will try to take appropriate action. That is, either it indicates an error or makes type course. If it is possible for it to repair, it will try to repair. Repair in the sense, it will try to convert it into the required type or data type, what you could say. If it is not able to convert, then it will indicate an error, during which the operands are converted so that they are compatible. So input for semantic analysis will be the parse tree, as well as the output will also be the parse tree. But this output will comprise of the type checking. The correct data type will be associated in this particular parse tree. Then we have the next phase as intermediate code generation. Now, for intermediate code generation, what will be the input? The annotated parse tree or the derived parse tree from semantic analysis phase. And what will be the output of this particular phase? It will be the tree address code, as you can see in point number 2. In this phase, an intermediate form called tree address code is generated. Okay. So if you see the first point, what it is saying, in the process of translating a source program into target code, a compiler may construct one or more intermediate representations which can have a variety of forms. Wow, major input is the source program, major output is the target program, but in the intermediate form there are several processes. So we have observed source program is converted to tokens in the lexical analysis phase, that tokens is converted to the parse tree in the syntax analysis phase, that parse tree is converted to annotated parse tree in the semantic analysis phase, and this annotated parse tree is converted to 3 address code in the intermediate code generation phase. Okay. Next point it is saying the 3 address code consists of a sequence of assembly like instructions with 3 operands per instruction. Each operand can act like a register. In your computer organization or in your microprocessor also, if I am not wrong, you have learnt about the various addressing modes. Okay, the 0 address, the 1 address, the 2 address, the 3 address. So that 3 address code is being constituted here in this particular phase, wherein in the 3 address code what are those 3 addresses? 2 of them are source addresses sorry, and 1 is the destination address. Each operand can act like a register over here, which you can see over here. So I hope you are able to understand. Then we have code optimization, as the name suggests. What we have to do? We have to apply code optimization. Let's say we have written 20 lines of code, but after optimizing it, after minimizing it, it cannot be further minimized after that. Code optimization will, let's say after performing code optimization, instead of having 20 lines, it is only the 12 lines. Okay. So we need this code optimization so that efficiency of the computer increases. So what it is saying, optimization reshapes the intermediate code so that it works in a more efficient manner. This is what I am talking about. Efficiency is required. This phase usually involves numerous subphases, many of which are applied repeatedly. Okay, subphases are what? Which are applied repeatedly. Like we distinguish 2 kinds of optimizations: machine independent optimization and machine dependent optimization. So when we will come across this code optimization part, then we will try to understand this machine independent and machine dependent. Currently not required. Last point it is saying the former operates on the intermediate code while latter is applied to the target code. Now in the code optimization, what will be the input? It will be the 3 address code being generated by the intermediate code generator. Okay. And what will be the output of this code optimization? Again the same 3 address code, but this 3 address code will be in the optimized form. Clear? The last phase is the code generator phase. The last phase is the code generator phase. What it is saying, the code generator takes as input, and what will it take as input? It will take as input as the intermediate representation or the 3 address code. Intermediate representation of the source program and maps it into the target line. It will take input as 3 address code and then it will try to produce a target language. Let's say the target language is a machine language or assembly language. Clear? If the target language is machine code, registers or memory locations selected for each of the variables used by the program, then the intermediate instructions are translated into sequences of machine instructions that perform the same task. Okay. So it is saying that if the target language is machine code, if it is machine code, then what will happen? Registers or memory locations are selected as per the instruction given to it. It will try to select the requisite register or memory location, and for each of the variables used by the program, for which it will select for those where in the variables are used by the, then the intermediate instructions are translated into sequences of machine instructions to perform the same task. We will try to understand this with an example. A very important example is also given there in the book. Position equal to initial plus rate into 60. Let's say this is one of the lines of the source program. This will be applied to each and every phase, and we will try to see how it works. So in the first phase, what will happen? This particular statement will be broken into pieces in the form of leximes or tokens. Here it is given. You can see position is written as ID1, initial is written as ID2, rate is written as ID3. ID means identifier. So it is identifier 1, identifier 2 and identifier 3. So and 60 is obviously a constant. Star is your operator. Okay. So operators and then identifiers, all these can be your tokens. So we can see there are no other changes required, only these three, ID1, ID2 and ID3 is required, and all these are separately your tokens. ID1 is a token, equal to is another token, ID2 is another token, plus is another token, ID3 is another token, equal to, sorry, multiplication is another token, and then 60 is also a token. Now these tokens will go as an input to the syntax analysis phase. What it will do? It will try to create a parse tree. Okay. So you know how to design a parse tree. You can see over here ID1, then equal to is on the top, that is the root of the parse tree, and we have plus, which we were speaking about earlier, that plus will be part of when we are trying to design a parse tree, the node will constitute of the operators and the leaf or the child will constitute of the operands. You can see the diagram. ID2, then we have plus over here, then we have multiplication over here, then we have ID3 and then 60. This you know how to design. So this is the parse tree generated from the syntax analyzer phase. This parse tree will go as input to the semantic analyzer phase. What it will try to give? The annotated parse tree or the abstract syntax tree or attributes. Okay. See what is the change it is trying to do. Here you can see rest of the things are similar. Here it is trying to convert this 60 to real value. Real means float value. Okay. How it is being converted? 60 is currently over here. 60 is currently an integer. Okay. But here it is trying to convert that integer to real. Clear? Why? Because other things can be in floating point nature, so we require 60 also to be in floating point nature. After that, so this is the after syntax tree obtained from the semantic analyzer. Now this will go as an input to the intermediate code generator phase. What it will try to do? It will try to generate a 3 address code, but the generation will be the non-optimized intermediate code. Okay, we can see over here. First of all, what it is trying to do, the conversion done in the semantic analysis phase into real, that will be called as temp1. Temp1 means temporary variable. Okay, temporary variable 1. What it is doing? Into real. We are trying to convert 60 to real value. Temp2 will be, you can see this particular part, ID3 into this part is your temp1 into real 60 is your temp1. So ID3 into temp1. After that we have ID2 plus what? ID2 plus temp2, because till here it is temp2. So ID2 plus temp2 will be your temp3, and finally here we have equal to. So what will happen? As you can see over here, here we have got equal to. What will happen? ID1 equal to temp3, because after that it was till temp3. Now this is your 3 address code, but it is in the non-optimized form. It will go through code optimizer phase. What it will do? It will try to optimize the code. So here we have got into real 60 can be written as 60.0, and ID3 into temp1. If you see, you can write over here temp2 equal to ID3 into temp1. Instead of having temp1, it is written ID3 into 60.0. So this becomes temp1 now. ID1 will be ID2 plus temp1. Okay. You can see, you can correlate from here. It will be ID2 plus ID3 into 60 is what? Temp1. So it will become ID2 plus temp1. Now this is, here you can see in the intermediate code there were 4 lines, but in code optimizer there are how many lines? Only 2 lines. So this will help us to understand the code generator part. that is called as a target machine code. You have done microprocessor assembly language over there, so you can understand the instruction. Move F ID3 into R2 mul F 60.0 R2, move F ID2 R1. This you can understand. This is being done from code optimizer phase. So you can see over here move F will be ID3 comma R2. Okay, then move I think you can understand. Then you have mul F, move F, add F, move F. So this is how a particular source program, that is position equal to initial plus rate into 60, is converted to a target machine code. Here it is written in the assembly language, that can be thought of as target machine code. Okay. One thing you can see over here is the symbol table. When we will try to understand symbol table in detail, then we will see symbol table is constituting of this particular statement. If I see position equal to initial plus rate into 60, it constitutes of three things: position, initial rate, and here dot 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 is given. That means, sorry, here dot 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 again, here dot 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 is given. So this means dot dot means more information is put into this particular table. What kind of information? Data type information, its scope, its longevity, all this can be fed into symbol table. So it is like a data structure. Symbol table is like a data structure. We have got one dedicated unit for this symbol table. So they will try to understand this. So this is all what we have in this particular lecture. I hope you understood about the phases of compiler. This is very important as far as this subject is concerned for you to understand. Also from the examination point of view, this particular question is generally asked. Okay, so for this lecture, thank you so much.